Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock p.m. and serves as the city's policy-making and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. The chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at www.siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting www.siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City government.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We're certainly pleased to have you here in attendance tonight. This is Tuesday, April 19th, and we'll first introduce you to your City Council.
Council members Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
Kiley.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Staggers.
Present.
Anderson.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Councilors, thank you for being here tonight. In Sioux Falls, we start our City Council meetings with an invocation, and we're very, very pleased to have Pastor Randy Gehring back to lead us in that invocation. Thank you, Pastor. He is from our Savior's Lutheran Church here in town. And what we'd ask is that you stand for the blessing and then remain standing for a pledge of allegiance. Pastor Randy?
Thank you, Mayor. For tonight's invocation, I've written a reflection entitled Doors. To some, doors are security, a way of locking out the terrors of the night, a way of protecting oneself from the uncertainties of a precarious world, of safeguarding society from the dangerous whims and evil schemes of a few. To others, doors are opportunities yet to be seized, passageways through otherwise impenetrable barriers, thresholds beyond which one may long to find greener pastures or a more equitable society. To still others, doors can be like an ever-revolving merry-go-round of shattered dreams and endless bureaucracy, a portal to nowhere and a destroyer of hope. A funny thing happened the other day when I was reading the Psalms. I discovered a God who shatters doors and responds to the cries of the helpless. Psalm 107 is a song of thanksgiving sung by many who have cried out in their time of trouble, only to be heard by a merciful God who saves them from their distress. To the lost, God provides a way home. To the prisoner, God provides freedom. To the sick and dying, God provides healing and wholeness. To those battered by the storms of life, God provides peace. Over and over, the psalmist sings of a God who rescues the helpless and the hopeless, even to the extent that doors of bronze are shattered and bars of iron are cut in two. and the vision of a new tomorrow is given as a gift of grace. Could it be that in some measured sense, this is also the work of this council? Could it be that your job is to listen, especially in times of economic growth and prosperity, to the cries of those in this community who are shackled by the chains of poverty? Could it be that your job is to hear, even at times marked by great civic optimism, the cries of those living in this city in the grip of despair and hopelessness? Could it be that your job is to allow yourself to be moved to the core of your being by the cries of your very own sisters and brothers, your fellow citizens, and to respond to the best of your ability, both as individuals and as a political collective, in ways that lead to the common good? If this is so, and I believe it is, may Almighty God grant you all that you need to lead with boldness, serve with compassion, and act with integrity, so that the door that leads to our shared tomorrow might be the new beginning that God desires for all. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Donna. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. I do have a proclamation that I love to read on the city's behalf. But first, Donna, would you mind just introducing the folks that are here, please?
So I am Donna, and my daughter Zoe, and this is our new addition, Liam here, and this is my son Brody and Brett, and this is Monica and Brandon, and Liam is theirs, and Adrian and Michaela, and we are from Cherubs of South Dakota, and we are here tonight. So we are fortunate to have a survivor, Brody, and Monica and Brandon have an angel named Remy, and that was this year. And so we are here to raise awareness and understanding of congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
Donna, first of all, thank you for that, and welcome, everybody. The proclamation reads, whereas 1 in every 2,500 pregnancies is diagnosed with a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, otherwise known as CDH. Whereas since 2000, it is estimated that over 500,000 babies have been born with CDH. However, only 50% of those babies survived. Whereas CDH is as common as spina bifida and cystic fibrosis. However, very few people know about it or are aware of it. Whereas 1,600 babies are born with CDH every year in the United States. Whereas there are many people living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, who have been diagnosed with and have survived their CDH. Although many families in Sioux Falls, South Dakota have endured the horrible pain and grief associated with the loss of loved ones with CDH. Whereas those with CDH often endure multiple surgeries and possible medical complications well beyond their diagnosis. That includes heart defects, pulmonary complications, gastric and intestinal problems, developmental delays, and may require respiratory and medicinal support for years. Whereas raising awareness of this congenital defect will help bring about the acceptance and support for those suffering with it, and will help advocate for urgently needed medical research and advances. Now, therefore, I, Mike Euther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim April 19th, 2016 as Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Action Day in Sioux Falls. Donna, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for bringing awareness to this. And let's give them all a round of applause, please. Thank you. Right here.
This is all crap.
Man, thanks so much, Donna. Thank you. Can you hold this for your mommy? Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Councilors, thank you very much. We'll now move to our consent agenda. Any motions or changes to that, please?
Move to approve Erpenbach.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Box made a motion to approve our consent agenda tonight, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Rolfing. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Council, that has passed 8-0. Thank you. Now, our regular agenda. Councilors, any motions or changes to that, please?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Kylie?
Councilor Chair Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve our regular agenda tonight, seconded by Councilor Kylie. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Folks, welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance tonight. We certainly appreciate it. This is a great time to engage the Council really on any topic that is important to you. If it is a topic later on in the agenda, we would ask you to wait until that time, unless it is a first reading. Otherwise, come forward. Two things. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and just introduce yourself to the people of our city. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Staley, resident and future council member. And I have been pondering in the last few days the Public Utilities Commission. Been thinking about this state entity that handles requests for rate increases from places like Xcel Energy and Mid-American Energy. And when these entities come to this Public Utilities Commission and ask for a rate increase, it's a long process. Citizens are notified. There's a vetting process. They get input. And then they rarely, in fact, I don't remember a time when they've given them the full amount that this utility is asked for. I started watching this rate increase with our utilities play out in 2011. I tried to get the media involved. I tried to get people involved. I tried to get the council to at least debate it and to have a compromise on it. You waited until 10:15 that night in 2011 to bring this up, and there was no dialogue. I called Greg Jamison, Councilor Jamison, after the fact. I said that was the worst piece of governmental engagement that I've ever seen. And as a citizen, I want you to be talking about these things and digging in. This thing came on the horizon for this rate increase on Friday. I had council members tell me they had not heard about it before Friday. We've got the first reading tonight, second reading coming up on May 3rd. I don't think this is right. And we are talking about different ways of funding our sewer system. We have an enterprise fund that we have been collecting money into to pay for these things, and we're talking about the second penny. The second penny is also being talked about to be funding the new administration building. Now, if we're talking about taking away from streets for the sewer system, then how about the administration building? As a council member, I want to get in here and dig into these things. And I think the people I talked with on the campaign trail had the same desire. They have a thirst for transparency and openness, and they have a thirst for people to take responsibility for standing up for the people. I'm not saying we shouldn't have any rate increases, but I'm saying, can't we talk about a compromise? Why does it have to be 100% of what they're asking for? Due diligence is what I want. So, and I probably won't get it. You guys are probably going to vote this in on May 3rd, and the rest of us will be left to deal with it as we move forward. But I was hoping that this could just be put off so the four of us could come on board and talk about this, because we're the ones who are going to be looking at the budget. We're going to be making decisions. Nothing set in stone from the past. I think the public is thirsty for good representation. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Dan Daly, citizen of Sioux Falls. I gave you a one-page, couple paragraphs, and I'm going to let you read it. I'm not going to go into it. It is complex, a little bit of legalese.
Okay.
The water rates, I looked at the 60-page slide presentation. I happen to agree with it. I know it surprises you, but the city's growing. My one input would be implement it slowly, and also make sure that all of that money goes towards water and water quality. That would be my input. Otherwise, I have some real problems with the Elmwood Golf Course Hotel and Restaurant. I don't think it's an antitrust issue. I don't think you should compete with private business. I'm retired now. If I have to, I will organize the hotels into a class action. You've got to prove that you're not denying them business. I don't think you can do that. If you give them exceptions, if they don't have to pay property tax, if they're not paying a percentage lease, they can't own the property. You must own the building because it's on public land. There's lots of issues, and I would ask that you make a review of it, and you read at least what I have to say, which is certainly not a legal opinion, because I barely touched it. Is rather complex, and it'll get you in some big trouble, costing the citizens millions and millions of dollars, mostly in legal fees. The one other point, competitive bid process. Let's get that started. I mean, it seems like contracts are let before there's even a decision. I know what happened for the event center. There was no vote, there was no land, and the contracts were awarded. I mean, can we start that now? I mean, it's a good time. It's happening everywhere else in the country and in the state, just not here. That's what I have to say.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for being here tonight. Folks, anybody else? Welcome.
Bruce Danielson, Sioux Falls. Jim's going to help me out here a little bit. I have a multi-part here. I'm going to go through it quickly, so I got it written here. But under the guise of updating the employment rules to coincide with Sioux Falls voters approving Charter Amendment F, the city administration has decided to remove all remaining value in the campaign finance laws of the city of Sioux Falls. So much so this ordinance change is receiving its first reading tonight. Section 39.038, political activity, is on the board for everybody to read and see. And this clause has served Sioux Falls well since 1957 with minor changes. Why does it need to be stricken except to hide potential finance disclosure issues and other embarrassments? By your next council meeting, look, as I have, at current and past campaign finance forms filed for the irregularities that I've been looking at. Enjoy the results, especially as you consider a vote to change this clause in your next meeting. You know, what issues are you going to find? So, and I asked for a clarification of the city attorney's position language to be considered during the Charter Revision Commission meetings this year. The setup we now have is out of control. Now the city attorney is once again assisting in closing more government from us, the citizens. When will we have a city attorney whose first job and priority is the protection of the rights of citizens and not special interests of those already in power? Another interesting angle in this money talk are the games surrounding the recent email I made sure all of you received from me and all the media of Sioux Falls. The city clerks are not being of service to you or us. The games played with this release of the financial disclosure forms border on breaking state open meetings records laws. And there's backside on that too, if you would. When I asked for copies of original documents without markups, the request was refused. When the forms were modified or resubmitted, they were backdated. Backdated. You can't do that going to the bank. You can't do that when you go to any clerk of court's office. The backdated documents, they're worthless. When asked why, the clerks told me they did not have to follow Title I of the Open Records Laws, only Titles 9 and 12. This is both wrong and weird, and I'm still awaiting the data requested. The last thing I want to talk about is Project NICE, currently running in Sioux Falls. It is by design a code enforcement program set up to spy on property owners. We've heard stories of illegal yard searches, city employees digging through refuse to collect data and materials through the years, but before yesterday I did not have any photographic or video evidence. Why else would Luann Ford and one of her staff be taking photos of a lawn boy mower set out for pickup? They made a beeline to the stuff set out and began a weird photo session. Did she want me to help load it into her pickup so she could take it home? Never did really get an answer. It is interesting these images were captured one day after I was quoted in the Argus Leader concerning Project NICE. Mayor Mike Huther in March promised my neighbors he had a plan to deal with me. Is this part of the plan? By the way, is this the reason we need to spend upwards of $35 million with interest for a new administration building so we can have more $87,000 city employees looking in our trash? Why? The city government has no right to trample on the citizen rights in order to hurt anyone they wish. In recent years, I have experienced and witnessed your distaste for the work we do exposing process issues of the city of Sioux Falls. The administration building, Project NICE, the removal of Section 38.038, political activity, and more are power plays leaving a sour aftertaste to remember your council and mayoral legacies. As we soon seat new members to this body, remember you all will soon be just Sioux Falls citizens again, without secret emails and staffs making you feel important. No one is here forever. By the way, does the proposed change in ordinance allow the mayor to use city resources to run for governor, or just squash First Amendment rights of citizens? I'm just asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Robert Colby, Minnehaha County, and the City of Sioux Falls. Someone mentioned to me as I walked up I should say something about water. And I will do more than just say water. Water is important. And if you think that the fights over oil have been important in the most recent past, wait till we get to fighting about water in the future. The Dakota History Conference is this week, and the emphasis is on the war comes to the Great Plains, talking about World War II. It's caused me to do some research for a little project I'm doing. The subject of my presentation is My Week in the War, talking about the week that I was born during 1942, which had me thinking about some family things. And my father, though he only finished 8th grade because his father would not let him go on to high school, but then again it was 1931. But he was always straightforward and honest, and doggone it, sometimes I got little of that stuck in me. But I would say one thing to some of you who are now retired. I would say congratulations. Whether I agreed with you or not, you did your duty. And I would congratulate you for that. I remember there was a comment that came out of the Kennedy administration. Some of his minions were dissing Lyndon Johnson. He took them aside, and you might say he reamed him a new one, because he said, he was elected. You are asked to serve, but he was elected. He has earned the right. You are just given opportunity. And I hope that when you're done, you will continue to do service because you've had one of the best civics lessons that you can ever take. I remember civics in high school. I think you spell it C-I-V-I-C-S, and that's all I remember. I would hope that you would travel in the United States and outside. And I can't remember the exact quotation from Mark Twain, but he said that travel will counter racism, prejudice, and broaden the mind. And if you do such, you will find out that we have a lot of good things growing here and going here. But I would congratulate you, whether I agreed with you or disagreed with you. You've done your duty, and I think you deserve to be congratulated for that.
Mr. Colby, thank you. Welcome.
Greetings. I am David Zokaitis, and like normal, here to talk about civil rights. Last fall, you all know that I was detained by 4 cops who were not very generous. So I keep coming back because the motivation for such an event is kind of complicated and there's a lot of components. Well, one reason why police get to do this kind of stuff is because the government says they can. So I've filed complaints with city government and state government and federal government, and they all pretty much just want me to go away and never come back. No response. So we might all ask ourselves, well, how bad is it really? Well, in my case, I was detained for 30 minutes and they tried to terrify me and they tried to set me up, but I walked away from it and didn't get beat up and didn't go to jail. But there are cases in this country where things have been much, much worse. So if we're asking ourselves how bad can it get, well, we should review some of the much, much worse cases. I direct your attention to the Sean Bell shooting incident in New York City. Happened in November 25th, 2006, when 3 men were shot 50 times. That's quite a few times for police officers to shoot at other people, 50 times. Not guilty. No, that should be quite disconcerting. 50 bullets are fired, nobody goes to jail. They go to the morgue, but not to the jail. So here's another case. This was in 2012. Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams were shot 137 times. Almost unfathomable. How can you put that many bullets into a couple of people? One of the officers apparently fired his gun 49 times, and he was so interested in killing people that he got excited enough to jump up on the hood of the car and fire 15 more bullets. And these guys were all, found not guilty. So if you want to know how bad it can get, well, I think that's how bad it can get. It's not that bad here, but it gets pretty bad. And then, of course, the question is, well, why really? Okay, so we know that police can get away with murder. I mean, we're not even being facetious or sarcastic, that police can get away with murder. But the question is, who does that benefit, and why does it occur? So we're going to keep digging until we try to get some of the answers. But for a little bit of civic background, I'm going to read you a quote taken from the Nuremberg trials. Of course the people don't want war, but after all, it is the leaders of the country who determine the policy, and it is always a simple matter to drag the people along, whether it's democracy, a fascist dictatorship, or a parliament, or a communist dictatorship. Voice or no voice, the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them they are being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism. So, if we got that kind of stuff going on in our country, then this whole scenario starts to make a little more sense. Well, police are in control, and if you don't like it, well, good luck to you. But we need to figure out the motivation for some of that stuff. Now, here's a fictional quote by Caesar, but, fictional quotes can have some value, so I'm going to read this one just because it's so cool. Beware the leader who bangs the drums of war in order to whip the citizenry into a patriotic fervor. For patriotism is indeed a double-edged sword. It both emboldens the blood just as it narrows the mind. And when the drums of war have reached a fever pitch, and the blood boils with hate, and the mind has closed, the leader will have no need to seize the rights of the citizens. Rather, the citizens, infused with fear and blinded by patriotism, will offer up all of their rights unto the leader and gladly do so. How do I know? For this is what I have done, and I am Caesar. Well, now, maybe that's what's going on in our country.
David, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You bet. Have a good night, sir.
You too.
Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome. Tim?
Tim Stanga.
Tim, evening.
I want to thank all the voters for coming out and voting for the city council. I think that a lot of people are starting to figure out how the corrupt government that we have in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. When you talk about an administrative building and you sit down and say, well, we'll talk to the county and see if they want to go in on it, and I'm sitting there like this, the county has been trying to get the city to go in on a jail for how long? 95% of the people in jail right now are from Sioux Falls. Why aren't we helping them get a jail versus them helping us get an administrative building? Last week on the administrative building, it just sort of makes me laugh. And I'm with Teresa on this one. We've got 25 first readings. 25 of them. Are we afraid of the next city council that's going to come in? See, this is all brought on by the administration. See, what we do is we get our puppets lined up, and our puppets, the mayor gives them a song, and the puppets come around and they start singing the song, and they sell it to the public. Then you get city council people that are just as bad, where the mayor sings a song to the city council person, and that city council person sings the song. The public can see it now. Last week was just pathetic on how things were done. When we bring somebody up here and they sing the song, then you bring somebody up here and say, buying a used building, it's just not feasible. But yet that person isn't going to make any money off from a used building because they build new buildings. Then you bring an architect in here that's going to be drawing up the plans for the new building. Well, that person's not going to get the money they normally do. You sit here every week and you see the games, the corruptness of this city council, the corruptness of this mayor is just pathetic. And I think really and truthfully, when it comes down to this campaign reform that we're going to be going through, I think we've got to follow the money trail and let's see how many city council people, and I am going to point at you people, how many city council people gave candidates money, or even the mayor and his wife. What candidates did they give these candidates money? Then let's find out where corruptness starts. But the sad part about it is, I think you can keep looking at the clock, by the way. The good part about it is the people of Sioux Falls are going to find out next week where the corruptness starts. We're going to go through. If we have to go through line by line on who gave money to who, we're going to do it. And we're going to let people know where corruptness is in this city council. But the sad part about it is the people that you guys gave money to, did they get elected? I don't think they did they? The citizens of Sioux Falls are going to speak. But the thing is, the song that the citizens of Sioux Falls are going to have, we've only just begun.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Greg Neitzer, Sioux Falls. I wasn't going to talk tonight, but I thought I'd just throw out a couple of thoughts from the informational meeting. So when I went to the informational meeting, not kind of expecting that I might be going to a play. Seemed like everybody played their part. It seemed pretty well orchestrated. And, you know, I'm an adult, but seemed like it was a kind of an orchestrated deal to discredit those of us who are against the water rate increases. I guess I would only say that as I went door to door and I went to 2,500 doors, I heard over and over people who are on fixed incomes who are struggling. They're just tired of rate increases and they're just looking for some relief, and they just don't really see how we can be a boom town and the piggy bank is full, but we keep raising rates. I know we've done that for a long time. And then today we talked about what would we cut, you know, if we started to shift that money over. And we talked about things like Flint, Michigan, cutting the roads, cutting the parks. And so I just don't know about the scare tactics of those are the first things we cut. Now, yes, we spend a lot on sewers, so it would have to be a gradual transition, and we would take it would be a tough thing to do, and obviously there would have to be something that would have to be cut. But once again, I guess it comes down to priorities. So I hope we'll just be open-minded and we can have the discussion and just look at all of the options. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Well, thank you. We appreciate the commentary tonight, and we'll now move on to item 28.
Item 28, a new 2015-16 retail malt beverage license for Zamarix LLC, Zamarix Noodle Cafe, 2300 South Minnesota Avenue, with conditional use permit 4310-2016 being approved on March 3rd, 2016. Item 29, a new 2016 retail wine license for Zamarix LLC, Zamarix Noodle Cafe, 2300 South Minnesota Avenue, with conditional use permit 4310-2016 being approved on March 3rd, 2016. Item 30, a new 2016 retail wine license including video lottery terminals for Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings, Deuces Casino 7.5, 4713 East 26th Street, with conditional use permit 2928-2015 being approved on August 5th, 2015. Item 31, a new 2016 retail wine license including video lottery terminals for Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings, Deuces Casino 3.5, 5115 East Arrowhead Parkway, with conditional use permit 4148-2016 being approved on March 3rd, 2016, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 32, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license including video lottery terminals for Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings, Deuces Casino 3.5, 5115 East Arrowhead Parkway, with conditional use permit 4148-2016 being approved on March 3rd, 2016, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 33, transfer of 2016 retail liquor license including Sunday sales certificate and video lottery terminals from Behind the Bar Incorporated, Tinners, 449 West 69th Street, to Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings, Tinners, 449 West 69th Street, with conditional use permit 4299-2016 being reviewed on April 6, 2016. Item 34, transfer of 2015-16 retail malt beverage license with video lottery terminals from Juan Padilla El Jalapeno Mexican Grill, 2113 South Minnesota Avenue, to Juan Padilla Casa Villa J Nightclub and Restaurant, 805 Northwest Avenue, CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire and Health. Item 35, New 2016 retail wine license with video lottery terminals for Juan Padilla, Casa Villa J Nightclub and Restaurant, 805 Northwest Avenue. CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire and Health. Item 36, transfer of 2015-16 retail malt beverage license from Guillermo Pedro Mi Tierra Authentic Mexican Restaurant and Bakery, 337 South Phillips Avenue, to Guillermo Pedro Mi Tierra Authentic Mexican Restaurant and Bakery, 329 South Phillips Avenue. CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire and Health. Item 37, transfer of 2015-16 retail malt beverage license from Latitude 44 LLC, Latitude 44, 201 North Weber Avenue, to Fernson Tap House LLC, Fernson on 8th, 201 North Weber Avenue. CUP not required. Item 38, transfer of 2016 retail wine license from Latitude 44 LLC, Latitude 44, 201 North Weber Avenue, to Fernson Tap House LLC, Fernson on 8th, 201 North Weber Avenue. CUP not required. Item 39, special one-day malt beverage license for Jam Art and Supplies to be operated at Touchmark at All Saints, 111 West 17th Street for the Artful event on April 30th, 2016. Item 40, special one-day malt beverage license for Jam Art and Supplies to be operated at Tower Park, 1000 North Main Avenue for the What's Up event on June 18th, 2016. Item 41, special one-day malt beverage licenses for Jam Art and Supplies to be operated at Sharapa Place, East Parking Lot, 300 North Sharapa Place for the 605 Summer Classic on June 24th and 25th, 2016. Item 42, special one-day liquor license for Ramcota Companies Incorporated Best Western Ramcota Hotel to be operated at Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street for a conference social on May 19th, 2016. Item 43, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Ramcota Companies Incorporated Best Western Ramcota Hotel to be operated at Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street for a retirement party on June 27th, 2016. Item 44, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Special Olympics South Dakota to be operated at Yankton Trail Park, 3901 South Minnesota Avenue for the Peach Festival on June 25th and 26th, 2016. Item 45, special one-day liquor license for TNT Entertainment LLC to be operated at 337 North Phillips Avenue, Albert House parking lot for an outdoor concert on July 8th, 2016. Item 46, special one-day wine license request for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated at the following locations: 8th and Railroad Center Lobby, 401 East 8th Street, 605 Running Company, 124 South Phillips Avenue, A League of Your Own, 229 South Phillips Avenue, Atali Salon, 317 South Phillips Avenue, Bead Company, 319 South Phillips Avenue, CH Patisserie, 39 South Phillips Avenue, Chelsea's Boutique, 321 South Phillips Avenue, East Bank Yoga, 401 East 8th Street, number 220, Exposure Gallery and Studios, 401 North Phillips Avenue, Great Outdoor Store, 201 East 10th Street, Home Porch Gifts, 217 South Phillips Avenue, Jam Art and Supplies, 401 North Phillips Avenue, J.H. & Sons, 216 South Phillips Avenue, Lot 2029, 207 South Phillips Avenue, NV Studios, 106 West 11th Street, Rayfield's Art and Framing, 210 South Phillips Avenue, Rug and Relic, 401 East 8th Street, number 114, Say Anything Jewelry, 225 South Phillips Avenue, Shoes, 333 South Phillips Avenue, Simply Perfect, 401 East 8th Street, number 108, Sticks and Steel, 401 East 8th Street, number 118, Unglued, 218 South Phillips Avenue, Urban Archaeology, 126 South Phillips Avenue, Young and Richards, 222 South Phillips Avenue, and Zambro's Variety, 209 South Phillips Avenue, for the First Friday Wine Walk on May 6, 2016. Item 47, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated at 8th and Railroad Parking Lot, 401 East 8th Street for downtown block parties on the East Bank on June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 2nd, 2016. Item 48, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated at Avera Information Technology Center North Parking Lot, 212 East 11th Street, including Great Outdoor Store, property and parking lot, 201 East 10th Street, and Fort Sod Plaza, 201 South 2nd Avenue for Rock Island block parties on June 16th, July 21st, and August 18th, 2016. Item 49, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated on levels 5 and 6 of the City of Sioux Falls parking ramp, 110 East 11th Street for rooftop cinema events on June 23rd, July 28th, and August 25th, 2016. Item 50, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated on Phillips Avenue from 9th to 14th Streets, Main Avenue from 10th to 13th Streets, 13th Street from Main to 1st Avenue, 12th Street from Main to Phillips Avenues, 11th Street from Dakota to Mall Avenues, 10th Street from Main to Mall Avenues, parking ramp by Main and 12th, surface lot behind the diner, and plaza by 12th and Phillips for hot summer nights on July 13th, 2016. Item 51, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated within phases 1 and 2 of Downtown Riverfront from 6th Street to south of 8th Street, including Raven Industries Riverfront and parking lot located at 205 East 6th Street, to include the grassy area between Phase 1 River Greenway and the Sharapa Place parking lot north to 6th Street and south to Sharapa Place for Downtown Riverfest on August 13th, 2016. And 52, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Catering America Incorporated to be operated at 4500 West 58th Street for an open house event on May 3rd, 2016.
Thank you, Tamara.
Mayor, I'm going to ask, would you read this over again here, please? Just that line. You got the address wrong when you read it. Sorry.
Correction to item 46, CH Patisserie, 309 South Phillips Avenue.
Thank you, Councilor Chair. Appreciate it. Jamie, good evening.
Jamie Palmer with licensing. Items 28 and 29 are requests to allow malt beverages and wine for their patrons in the cafe. Item 30 is a request to add wine. This applicant currently holds a malt beverage license at this location. Items 31 and 32 are requests to allow malt and wine licenses with video lottery terminals. There are some concerns regarding this request due to the floor plan that was proposed for this new building, which will house 2 separate casinos with separate licenses on each side. The plan includes a shared bar, shared bathrooms, and a shared deck, as well as a common walkways between the 2 licensed establishments. While the building complies with all the state lottery requirements and building requirements, the State Department the state office and the city licensing office has concerns not only with the issues for the potential violations, but also with the impossibility of policing those potential violations, which would fall under 35-1-113, which defines on sale as a sale of alcoholic beverage for consumption only on the premises where sold, and 35-1-5.6, which states that it is a Class 2 misdemeanor for any person to consume alcoholic beverages upon the premises of a licensed on-sale dealer if the alcoholic beverage was not purchased from that on-sale dealer. And 35-1-9, which in short states no licensee under this title may keep or store any alcoholic beverages at any place within the state other than on the premises of where the licensee is authorized to operate. Item 33 is a request due to a transfer of ownership. The applicant is present. Items 34 and 35 are being requested to accommodate a new nightclub and restaurant. The applicant is also present. Item 36 is a transfer of location due to a fire in the kitchen area of their restaurant. Their intent is to move back to their location after the renovations are complete. And again, the applicant is present. Items 37 and 38 are being requested due to a transfer of ownership. This applicant also holds malt beverage and wine licenses at their brewing company located on East Rober Drive. I have no additional information for item 39. It's a special one-day request. Item 40 is a special one-day request, but it is a new event, and I would like to request that this item be deferred until Tuesday, May 17th, to allow time for the Special Events Committee to review. Items 41 through 44 are all special one-days, and I have no additional information, but happy to answer questions. Item 45 is a new request located in the downtown area, but it is being held on private property, so it is not going to be reviewed by the Special Events Committee. The applicant is present if you have questions related to this event. Items 46 through 48, again, are all special one-days, and I have no additional information, but can answer questions. Item 49 is a new special event proposed by Downtown Sioux Falls, and again, I would ask that this event this item be deferred until May 17th to allow the Special Events Committee time to review. And I have no additional information on item 50 through 52, but I would be happy to answer any questions for you.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you. Great job, both of you. Appreciate it. Councilors, yes, Councilor Erickson.
Go ahead. I have a question about item 40 regarding special one-day permit that would be used in a park. And I realize that you're deferring, and I appreciate that. I support that idea. Can you, and I should have asked this so you could think about it ahead of time, but can you think off the top of your head of other times that we have done special one-days in parks that don't have normal, like Falls Park, we have that special area where you can, have alcoholic beverages. Have we ever done something like this before?
This is a new event, and according to and I don't have it with me tonight, but I believe there's an exemption in the ordinance that allows that special one-days can happen. I know that this is an alcohol-free park, but I believe there is verbiage in there that states, and like I said, I don't have it with me, but that does state that it can be allowed with a special one-day request.
Okay, I appreciate, again, the deferral, and because, especially though, because it is an alcohol-free park, that I really am concerned about that one, so that was mine. Thank you.
Councilor Buck, thank you. Yeah, Councilor Erickson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda items 28 through 30, 33 through 39, 41 through 44, 46 through 48, and 50 to 52.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Erickson, thank you so much. Councilor Erickson made a motion to approve agenda items 20 through 30, 33 through 39, 41 through 44, 46 through 48, and 50 through 52, and that was seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. Any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Councilor Erickson.
I'd like to make a motion to defer agenda items 40 and 49 to May 17, 2016 regular city council meeting.
Second.
Councilor Erickson has made a motion to defer agenda items 40 and 49 to the May 17, 2016 regular city council meeting, seconded by Councilor Karski. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you. Any other items, councilors? Yes, Councilor Erickson. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to discuss items 31 and 32.
Very good.
Councilor Karski and myself have had a couple conversations in regards to this. We've all received the floor plan of the facility, as well as an email from their attorney. I understand that the applicant is here today with their counsel, and I have questions for, thank you for your comments, I appreciate that. I do have a couple questions for the applicant and or their attorney, if possible.
Appreciate it. Would you folks come forward, please? Appreciate it. Would you mind just introducing yourself to the councilors as well as the people of our city?
Brian Soberg, 330 North Main, Sioux Falls.
And I'm Brett Lubburn with Cadwell, Sanford, Diaphragmatic, and Gary.
Bryce and Brett, thank you. Councilor Erickson?
Thank you. I'm concerned at looking at your floor plan that there are not any walls that separate the two licenses. And so based on South Dakota codified law, we just heard some concerns. I'd like you to address those concerns of what you plan to do and what your intentions are to make sure that if the bathrooms are on the beer side, How are you going to make sure I don't bring my alcoholic beverage into the bathroom or cross those lines? And just walk me through what the floor plan is, what your intentions are, and how that's going to play out with enforcing that and who that falls under.
And basically, and we met with the,
Speaking
oh,
of
I'm sorry,
mics, yeah.
I apologize. We met with the city attorney's office and also with the building code enforcement to make sure that everything complied with state law and with the regulations. In terms of how we're going to enforce that, it's a very fair question. The thing that I think sometimes gets lost on these, and I remember I've come to these back 15 years ago when, you know, there weren't as many casinos and people weren't as familiar with how they operate, is that this really isn't a drinking establishment. We're not going to have 30 people on both sides, and the employees are going to be trained to watch, and we're going to have signs up posted telling people you can't move back and forth between these. There's physical separation, and then the bar comes through. As far as the centerpiece, only employees can go back and forth between that.
Brett, if I could, I think Councilor Erickson, though, did ask a direct question, and the question was, if somebody buys a bottle on one side of the establishment and has to go to the bathroom on the other side, what are you going to do about that?
They would have to leave the drink where they were at, and frankly, if they wanted a new drink, usually the alcohol here is free because it's not a big drinking establishment. So if they wanted, they could throw it away if they were concerned about anything happening to their drink. But again, it's you know, typically we're talking 15 people. It's pretty easy for our managers to see exactly what's going on, and they watch the people. And as you can see from the safety plan, we have pretty extensive cameras and that. So.
Sorry, my microphone's off. So what if I have a cocktail in my hand and I cross the line? What are you going to do?
Then you'd be told you can't come across here. You need to take that back, or we'd take away the alcohol.
Would I have to leave? Who does it fall? Who's responsible then for that? Is it the establishment of that? And I know we heard some consequences about it being a misdemeanor, I believe, or something along those lines. I mean, I certainly don't want to dedicate police resources to coming in to making sure people aren't crossing the duct tape on the floor. I mean, that's ridiculous. How are we going to make sure people aren't? Well, and I don't care if it's a drinking facility, a gambling facility, a smoking facility. I don't care what it is. How are you going to make sure that doesn't happen?
I think that'd be our responsibility. Our managers have to do it. They'd have training on that. And, you know, frankly, if we don't do that, our competitors are quick to come in and say, hey, this isn't happening. You know, we could lose our license. And this group has had, I think, 30 licenses. I think law enforcement said we've done a good job enforcing the rules. And that would be our responsibility to make sure they don't cross.
And I would add, too, that in the past years, we've always had to police this, you know, underage alcohol purchases. I mean, just the same way. Our people that are working here need to police that so that the police don't have to police that. We don't want to break any rules. We want to do what's right. And so we just have to police that. I mean, you know, like I said, you know, it's a 10-machine casino. It's not a bar. We don't encourage people to come in there and drink like a bar. We don't want that. It's not good for business, to be frank. And so there aren't many people in there. So, you know, it's fairly easy to police, just as we police people coming in that may be underage. That I might add that we've never had a violation for.
May I have one more follow-up?
Well, please, Councilor Erickson.
Do you intend to sell cigarettes at this facility?
No.
Not even behind the bar?
No.
Do you intend to allow smoking on your deck?
That was the plan for the deck, outdoor deck, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And so is the deck going to have a separation so I can't cross the deck? I can only have beer on this side and alcohol on this side? Or how will that work with the deck?
Well, you know, I think, you know, as we show it, we show the two exits going out to the landing. I guess I have a little different one here, but, well, we would, for instance, that door that goes out on the deck, I mean, if somebody wants to come up with a drink up from this side, that would be fine, but not the other side, because it's crossing the, you know, and if, if for some reason that the deck is, something that you're concerned about, it's not totally necessary that we'd offer that as a.
Right. Well, I mean, really, to be quite blunt and honest, my concern is the lack of separation with walls and the one bathroom in there. It's going to be extremely difficult. And to be honest, those employees, do they really care if somebody's crossing the line? I mean, you can say you're going to train them, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh, go fast, just hurry up. I just don't know how you're going to really police that and police without the separations of the walls like some of your other facilities have. Some of your other facilities do have that.
We have no reason to not police it. I mean, I don't want to break any rules. I don't want people going over there, or crossing the dotted line, I should say. We don't want that. It's pretty simple. I'm very confident that we won't have a problem with that.
Councilor Karski.
We'll be policing it.
If I may, are you going to allow drinking on the deck?
I'm sorry, what?
Will the alcoholic beverages be allowed on the deck?
To be honest, yeah, I guess. Unless it's not allowed, and then we won't. I
didn't know what, for the alcoholic beverage license, you have to have a described premises, and I didn't know, did the deck belong to one side or the other? And if alcohol is allowed on the deck, the commingling of the licenses is a concern if there's alcohol on the deck. How many people will be working at this place at any one time? What's your average amount of staff at one time?
2. I mean, we consider this side, the bigger side, our main area, and then the other side, I consider it kind of an overflow area, 2.
And it looks like on the back side towards the deck that it looks like it'd be a hard area really to monitor. I want to use the word police, but monitor, because all your customer services in the front side, you got walls along the back with storage on each side and a hallway that people can go down and go out doorways. You said you have cameras. I'm sure that's one of the diagrams on here, but with alcohol on the deck and the access to and from the back with really no separation between the two, and 2 people working at one time, it seems like an awful lot of area to be able to monitor.
Well, I can tell you, our desire is not to have alcohol on the deck. We just added the deck as a service. I'm not exactly positive if it's legal to have the alcohol on the deck, but that's really not a concern of ours to have alcohol on the deck. The monitoring the hallways, like I said, we'll probably have 30-some cameras. We have 32-inch monitors behind the bar area to watch that back hallway area. And again, it's pretty easy to monitor, 6, 7, 8 people on one side and, same on the other. So,
and one thing that, I'm sorry.
Is this building under construction right now?
Yes, currently under construction, yes.
What's the completion date on it?
July 1st, I think, is when.
That's
the goal.
July 1st, okay.
Yeah. And as to the deck, if council would be more comfortable with a condition that we put a separation out there, we could do that. One thing that might be missed is, sometimes some of these are in busy areas, and so it's kind of hard. I mean, when you think of a lot of bars and places where people are walking in and out, you think it's hard to control it. This is set off on its own. It's a separate building. People have to drive and park only at this building. There are no other stores. There's nothing else. So you don't have people coming in, having a drink, going on the deck, and, it's a separated, kind of off the beaten path area as compared to some of ours. So I think it'll be a lot easier to control. And in terms of the alcohol out there, I understood we met the regulations. My understanding was that they could be out there. They just couldn't come back in. But if we're incorrect in that respect, we would certainly address it. And if the council would be more comfortable, we could certainly put dividing, some out on the deck. We'd be happy to do that as a condition.
If I may, a legal question, I guess. Is a deck typically part of the described premises? I don't know if that's for Jamie.
Jamie, Councilor Karski asked if the deck is part of the prescribed purpose or
premises for the alcohol license.
It could be, and it doesn't have to be. So it just depends on what their legal description specifies. And you can certainly put a stipulation on it to only include the interior of the building if you so choose, but it depends on how the legal description reads on this particular application. And if it reads Suite 101 or Suite 102, however it reads, means that it should only include the interior of the building.
Just a comment, if I may. I know we have city facilities that have numerous alcohol licenses from different entities within them. I go to a Stampede game, I remember at the old arena, I haven't been to one recently, but you couldn't walk from the one area with an alcoholic beverage into another area, and they had somebody standing there saying, you can't do that, you have to keep this here. It was pretty well monitored by somebody at that location. We don't have that here. I don't know if it should be a concern or not. I guess that's up to the council as a whole to decide. The deck, I could see where that could be very problematic with alcohol being taken out onto the deck, and like I said, the commingling of between the two liquor licenses, which definitely would not be allowed by state statute, I believe. So concerns I guess I have about this.
Council Chair Anderson Jr.
Now, you were saying you were going to have maybe 2 employees, 2 bartenders, but no waitresses, anything like that, move around inside the buildings?
No, well, they could be considered that. I mean, we consider them casino attendants who always move around the space.
Will they be able to work on each side?
Well, they, according to I don't know if it's a city ordinance or a state thing, they can move back and forth between the two.
And sell product?
Sell one, sell on one side to those, customers.
Councilor Tennyson.
Thank you. I haven't been in a casino in a while. I'm not very lucky at stuff like that. But isn't there an age requirement to get in? Or can anybody walk in?
21.
So, I mean, anybody in there is going to be an adult.
Correct.
And of the legal age. I mean, you're monitoring that how? I mean, how do you?
Well, it just says any bar or casino, we card those that come in.
And in the plan, it's anyone under who appears to possibly be under 40, they're trained to card. That's part of our plan with the police officers. Thank you.
Councilor Kiley.
Councilor Kiley, sorry, sir.
First of all, question for Jamie. I'll have to say that I have a concern that my colleagues have with no physical barrier between the two establishments, which are technically 2 separate establishments, in order to each receive a license. Do we have any setup like this any place else?
No, we do not.
Our response, and I get it that constructing the building in such a fashion reduces your construction costs, greatly reduces your plumbing costs, because you're limited only to one side with bathrooms, no physical barrier down the side. It helps you out in terms of reduced staff to monitor both sides. But our role here is to authorize licenses to establishments that have a reasonable opportunity to enforce all laws that regulate these types of establishments, and I don't see that happening here. From everything that's been described to me, it just seems like a recipe for violations to take place. I have pretty grave concerns over this.
Council Chair Anderson Jr.
To continue the discussion, I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
There's been a motion to approve. Are these items 31 and 32, or which ones?
31 and 32.
31 and 32, and it has been.
Do we want to defer it to?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a substitute motion.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson.
To defer items 31 and 32 to Tuesday, May 3rd. I just feel we really need. I'll make the motion. Then
Thank you, Councilor Chair. You'll second that. Councilor Chair Anderson Jr. will second that. Councilor Erickson.
Thank you. I know we've asked Mike Cooper to be here, and I know he's probably here for other items as well, but I think that it's definitely worthy to hear maybe his concerns as well from that, as well as, you know, it's just, I just have issues. I'm just not okay with it. We need more information from, I think, Keith as well to discuss what's currently on the books, what's maybe changing, how this is addressed with other casinos. We certainly have had some concerns with smoking violations with some of the casinos as well, that this could certainly fall in line with suitable location, suitable person. And so I'd ask my colleagues to please delay this until Tuesday, May 3rd, until we can get some additional information and continue the conversations with their attorney as well as the business owners.
Councilor Erpenbach.
I feel like I have missed out on a whole big conversation because I have no idea what's going on. And I apparently don't have a script from the mayor, just as an aside. But my question is, can we take this to an informational meeting so that we can understand more? I mean, Councilor Erickson's talking about some real broad issues here in terms of state law and how this fits together. Would it be appropriate to not only defer it, but to bring it to informational meeting? And now I'm getting the look from the attorney. So I'm just asking if that's a possibility.
And Jamie, maybe, Mr. Mayor, maybe Jamie could talk about the timeline as far as if, because the renewals are coming up and what that would do to the renewal process.
First of all, Councilor Bach, the only thing I'm looking at is this thing here. I don't know what.
I apologize. I was being facetious.
That's
and
okay.
That was inappropriate.
No, I just got this when I walked in. Good job. Councilor Bach, there was a question of, could you answer the question about would it make sense to do an informational meeting on this topic? And then I'm going to go to Jamie.
That would put it in a different forum. I mean, this is a public hearing on a license, so I think it needs to stay at your regular meeting, and you'd have to have that kind of information discussed again at the deferred public hearing on May 3. Again, everything you consider has to be in a public forum in this setting, and while I agree an informational would be helpful, I don't think legally that's the route, in all due respect, you'd want to go with having this hearing go over to an informational meeting. It just...
Okay, I understand that. I understand that piece of it. I understand that it's a hearing. I guess then I would like to understand more clearly. What I'm hearing is that this sort of setup is legal by state law. What I'm hearing is these gentlemen have followed the rules. But I'm also hearing my colleagues vaguely saying that we have concerns about it, something about smoking and something about crossing the line. I just would like to understand more what the concern is and why. I don't care to defer. It doesn't matter to me at this point. So that's where I'm at. I'm just laying it out. I don't know.
Good job. Now, Jamie, Councilor Erickson kind of was pointing to you. So could you help us there, please? Any thoughts?
I'll just maybe start by saying initially this item or this concern was brought to us by the Building Services Department when they had the plan submitted to them, and they came to me to ask for input or to see if it was, I guess, legitimate or able to fit in within the guidelines of having 2 alcoholic beverage licenses. They wanted to make sure that it was that they could do it. And so that's how the conversation got started. And Mike Cooper is here to address this item, and so I'm not sure if he wants to have any input on it, but there was just some major concerns about, can they only have 1 bathroom, and can they have these walkways? And so that plan, or this plan, not this one, the initial one, they've changed it some, but this was shared with the video lottery folks, and a phone call was made to them to see if there was any potential concerns about it. And then it was also shared with the State Department of Revenue, the alcoholic beverage folks that I deal with in Pierre, to see if they had any concerns, and they did. They had some very serious concerns about the things that I had spoke to tonight about the Title 35.
Council Chair Anderson Jr.
Can we have Mike Cooper come up, please?
Michael?
These gentlemen can just sit.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services.
Now, in existing businesses right now that are in the same building, we'll say one has a liquor license, one has a beer license, they're in the same building. They are not allowed to have access inside that building to each other.
Okay,
They
let me
have to go outside and go around or go to the other door and get in. Am I correct?
Yes, I'll give you a quick update if I could, Mayor
Thanks,
and
Mike.
Council. A conditional use permit was approved to relocate the existing casino, and that was done in March by the City Planning Commission. At that time, the conditional use permit was required because the new location was going to be within 500 feet of an existing residential neighborhood. That went through without any neighborhood opposition. The Planning Commission only looked at the location. They did not look at the building footprint. So the building plans came in to construct the shell of the building, which is what you see out there today. When those building plans came in for us to review, this is what we got. There was two completely separate buildings. There was a common wall down the middle that was shown. It was going to be a 2-hour firewall, according to our building code requirements. There was going to be a bathroom on the left side, a bathroom on the right side, and that's what I have marked up on this exhibit. So that's the way the first permit was issued for the shell of the building. Subsequently, they came in and wanted a permit to do the interior finishes. And so that's when the fun began, because the applicant came to us and said that based on an exemption that the State Video Lottery Commission has put in place, our local ordinance would not apply. Back in the 1990s, an ordinance was approved that said that these had to be completely separated. You could not go back and forth. So all the establishments that we have done over the years have followed that regulation. And so now we're being told within the last, I guess, 3 weeks that the state overrules the local ordinance. And that's where the questions came up that you're being asked to look at tonight. If you can go back to the other exhibit. So the two little common corridors in the front and the back are supposed to be alcohol-free. The questions about the deck, it just brought up a lot of concerns that we had about what kind of precedent this was going to set for this building and others like it. So we just want to have a little more time to dig into it.
Council Chair.
So with this, they're still going to, they'll have two separate businesses with full video lottery on each side, correct?
That's what they're requesting.
And the state is allowing this?
That's what we are being told. I have not personally been involved in those conversations, but
There has been a motion to defer items 31 and 32 to Tuesday, May 3rd. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion and probably more to come. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 7-1. There's still an item 45. Councilors?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Thank you, Councilor Bach.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Karski. Any discussion on this item?
Just a second.
That's a while.
Question?
Yes.
Jamie, did, I was told that they are going to end the event at 11 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes, I did have a conversation with the applicant on the phone, and they did tell me that the music will end at 11. They do have a sound permit until 11:30, but they wanted to end the music at 11 to make sure that they had everything done within that sound permit.
And will this parking lot be roped off and everything so that we don't have people walking across over to the bar and back and forth?
I'm going to ask that the applicant come forward and answer that question. Todd?
Todd Van Sickler, 6400 South El Dorado. Yes, the whole parking lot will be bike racked so that no one can go back to Wiley's or back and forth per se. We're going to have a rule that there's no reentry. So once you're in, once you're in, we'll cut the wristband if they leave. So working with Pepper Entertainment We've done these multiple times, so I'm very confident everything will go really good, so.
So you'll have porta potties and everything
Yep.
right there?
Yep.
There. Will there be any access to the hotel?
There will be, we have permitted that the guests or the tenants of the hotel, they're free to come in and out of it, just for kind of using their parking and stuff like that. But there will be a bike rack, so.
Thank you.
Councilor Kelly.
One quick question. So you desire to have the music stop at 11, so basically all the tear down can be accomplished within a 30-minute period prior to that 11:30?
There will be longer tear down required because of the stage and stuff like that, but there will be no amplified sound. And we've even thought about maybe even cutting it back a little bit earlier. We're free with kind of starting it, you know, maybe at 6 and ending it at 10, because as I like to be good neighbors with everyone down there on that corner, so so we do have a little bit of a wiggle room there, but yeah, but the stage, you know, it will be a big stage and stuff like that, so they will be tearing that down. Takes longer to put up than it does to tear down, though. So.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Ruffing.
Yes, thank you for being here and for being part of our discussion here, because this is one that we've discussed a bit. I believe this is really the first time, Jamie, that we're doing this kind of thing. And so I just want to alert you that, assuming this passes, that we're going to watch what the outcome is on this for future events. I'm sure the council will be doing that, and we're confident that you can handle it. And if we have some problems, that'll be something that'll be brought up later.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been part of like Downtown Live in the Falls Park West Greenway. I was with Downtown Sioux Falls and started that. We ran that together and along with Jared with Pepper Entertainment. So I think you've got good people that's going to take care of this.
We're counting on it.
Yeah.
Councilor Umbach.
Question, just a procedural question for Jamie, please. Jamie, do neighbors, because again, we're looking at downtown, people live down there, do neighbors get some sort of notice about this before we vote on it? Is that part of our ordinance?
It is not. However, I did ask the applicant on the phone today, and they did notify the residents personally. I believe he spoke to each one, and then I believe they posted a bulletin or flyer in the two buildings, Albert House and the RB building.
Across the street. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good.
A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That's passed 8-0. Item 53.
Item 53 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations for affordable housing projects.
Good evening, Darren Smith, Director of Community Development. Well, this item is just as it states, it's a supplemental appropriation request. There are a few points I want to make that I think are very important to help understand this item. First of all, these are all federal dollars. Every penny are federal dollars. There are no local tax dollars involved here. Secondly, these are all dollars we already have in our possession. We simply need formal budget authority to spend them. Third, 1.8 of the $2.3 million here was already appropriated in 2015 by this city council for affordable housing projects. Those dollars were not expended because the projects were not completed, and we typically do not make payment on any of our projects until they're completed and they're fully completed. In some cases, the projects were started but not completed. That's pretty common with construction projects, several month-long projects. In other cases, they weren't started primarily due to higher than expected bids. So we wanted to make some changes, repackage the projects, and put them out for bid, and we've done that pretty successfully to bring the cost down. But now we intend to do those projects this year. And then finally, the other $500,000 of the $2.3 million, these are actually new dollars. These were received by our department late last year after the 2016 budget had been approved. So we didn't have them in our possession at that time to program or request for programming in 2016. Those dollars came in late because they were part of a property sale that the City and Community Development Department made a loan for, a large loan, I think back in the 90s. So when the property was sold as a CSD property, Communication Services for the Deaf, we've been holding those dollars, but now we'd like to use them, and we have several good projects we'd like to utilize them for.
Thank you, Darren. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Welcome.
Tim Stanga. Guess I've had a lot of people ask me, what is affordable housing? Is it government subsidized housing? Because they sure don't see affordable housing in Sioux Falls. And that's the big question. I'm not 100% sure if community development, if it's the houses that we build, where we knock a house down and put a house up, if that includes in this money, I'm not 100% sure. Me and Kenny have talked about this too, and I don't know if this is in that. But it seems like when we do build a house through community development, that it seems like we might have $180,000 into that house, but yet we sell it for $130,000. Now, if that is involved in this money, I think we got to figure out, one, how we can keep the control or the cost of the houses that we are building to where if we get $180,000 into it, then we better get $180,000 out of it. It might be free money from the government, but that don't come out of the sky. You and me pay that. And I guess the thing is being a good steward of the taxpayers' money. If we got $180,000, we get $120,000 out of it, somebody's losing here. And I want to figure out how we can get it to where if we're going to have $120,000 into a house, then let's get $120,000 or $180,000 out of it. I'd appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Darren, would you just a definition of affordable housing maybe and
yeah.
kind of how things work?
Yeah,
Briefly, please.
Yes. Good question. Well, this council knows we've touched on this topic different times. Be happy to come back and go into a little more detail. It's not quite as simple as that. I just simply say this: of the single-family homes, there's a lot of projects that go into this $2.3 million. We're talking over 60 apartment units. Projects at MB downtown, St. Francis House. We're helping ICAP with Heartland House purchase some apartments. But there are 10 single-family homes. With those single-family homes, and that's what Tim's talking about, we will typically spend with a private contractor. These are privately built homes. We will spend with a private contractor approximately $125,000 to $130,000 to build the house itself. We will add a garage that usually costs about $10,000. So you're looking in the neighborhood on average of about $135,000 to $140,000. That's very typical. We've tried a variety of different home products, stick-built governor's homes. All of those come in around the same price, some a little more, some a little less. The additional dollars, separate from the home, that's where you get into more of that investment with these efforts and with the federal dollars. So for example, we will acquire a dilapidated, most likely uninhabitable home that's been a code enforcement issue on a number of occasions, a real blight in a neighborhood. We will acquire that because nobody else will. And we will usually spend on average about $25,000 to $30,000 to acquire that property and demolish it to make it ready for redevelopment. And then there's a few $1,000s more that go into that with maintaining it, snow removal, making sure it's mowed, insurance, and so forth. That's how you get to that total of about $170,000 to $75,000 typically, but we sell them for the price that we have in the structure. Those additional dollars that are utilized as far as federal dollars and some local, we get back over about a 12 to 15 year period in additional property taxes.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. Councilor Chair Anderson Jr.
Darren, when you talk about these funds, where are these funds actually going? To what projects?
Yeah. Again, just very briefly, 10 single-family homes, and those would be with Affordable Housing Solutions or Sioux Falls Housing and Redevelopment Commission, our partner with those. There are 61 apartment units, 42 of which are to help ICAP with the Heartland House purchase what's called the Cumberland Apartments today. And then 2 additional projects would be MB Downtown. We're helping them with a remodeling project downstairs where their daycare is, new windows and some other things. And then the St. Francis House. I believe that's an HVAC project.
And with the apartments, what's going to be the average cost on those apartments?
Well, it's going to vary. Again, of the 61, 42 of the 61 are for the Heartland House program. So those are, very low income. 11 of the units are a remodel job rehabilitation with VOA right across the street from the Bowden Youth Center to the west. So those would be pretty low income. And then the other 8 units are for a new project in Pettigrew Heights called Pettigrew Manor. And that's a partnership also with Affordable Housing Solutions. I think it's a corner of 10th and Summit. Yes, thank you. 10th and Summit. That's a new project, and I believe those range from 30 to 50% of median income.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Sager, sir.
Yes, Darren. Some of these affordable housing projects, my understanding is that some of these homes that are just terrible, really shacks, are owned by banks. And that sometimes we buy these buildings from banks, and then we tear them down, and then we put up new building.
Yeah.
In this case, it doesn't appear there's any buildings that are owned by banks. Am I correct on that?
I can't say 100%, and I don't know if somebody else can help. I can't say that 100%, Counselor. I know more of the homes we had purchased in prior years after the recession were bank-owned. I don't think that's been the case as much in recent years.
Okay.
But I can confirm that, and we'll send an email.
Okay.
I can reply, Mayor.
Sure, Councilor.
Councilor Staggers, just to let you know how much I've been in affordable housing and that. A lot of times, and no disrespect to our major developers and that, when we're building the large apartment complexes, I do have questions on how a lot of that money is spent and how well that is affecting affordable housing. But the list of that Darren has given us tonight are some of our best affordable housing builders, nonprofits, and I think that these will all really help people that are looking to be able to find that kind of affordable housing.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Anderson Jr., would you mind making a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilor Karski. Good discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 54.
Item 54 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by revising Chapter 117, Peddlers and Vendors.
Good evening, Jim David, Legislative Operations Manager. Back in December of 2015, the City Council passed several changes to the Peddlers Ordinance. Within that ordinance, there was some errors that you see here. License should instead say permit, and this ordinance corrects that error. Happy to answer your questions.
Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move for approval, Anderson.
There's been a motion by Council Chair Anderson Jr. to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Karski. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 55.
Item 55 is a first reading to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7:00 p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances for Chapter 39, Personnel, Regulations and Benefits, Retirement and Pensions.
Evening, Bill.
Mayor, City Council, Bill O'Toole, Human Resources Director. This is the item that we talked about earlier today at informational briefing, and I'll just be brief with my comments for first reading. Obviously, we went through some amendments. We talked about the fact that we were amending various provisions of the personnel regulations. To clarify some of them, we have some amendments based on federal regulations, and we also have a couple policy provisions that we're introducing and discussing. We'll obviously get into more detail if the council would support the motion for hearing for May 3rd.
Thank you, Bill. Councilors?
Move to set the date of hearing.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor Erpenbach's made a motion to set the date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing? Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 56.
Item 56 is a first reading, set a date of hearing, and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending Chapter 98, Human Relations.
Hi, Colleen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am here requesting that this be set for the second reading on May 3rd at 7 p.m. We are, as you know from the informational meeting, asking for amendments to Chapter 98, the Human Relations Chapter. We are making changes that are supporting federal law as well as federal executive orders and clearing up some language in those ordinances. If there are no questions or discussion, I'd ask that you support setting a date for our second hearing.
Thank you. Councilors?
So moved.
Councilor Jameson made a motion to set that date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd. Seconded by Councilor Karski. Thank you, sir. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
And Erickson is recused.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0.
Thank
Item
you.
57.
Item 57 is a first reading, set a date of hearing, and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending Chapter 50, Utilities Generally, pertaining to water service connections.
Good evening, Mayor, Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Trent Livers with the Office of Public Works. I'm having difficulty tonight. So, on the 15th of March, we went through a lengthy presentation to describe the changes that we're going to make here. So we're asking for your support on first reading. I'll go through a couple of highlights of what we're actually doing here. Chapter 50, we added some language for right to terminate based on some changes that we make we've made in metering practice. Essentially, we need to get access to homes to change the MTUs. That's the electronic device. Chapter 23 updates materials to industry, 50.023 updates materials to industry standards. We are also offering a change to embedded service connections in concrete so that there's a casement around when it's put in a driveway so that we have less service repairs to make in the future. Also, there's some ordinance changes which essentially says one service line, 1 meter shut off, 1 meter, so that when we're dealing with the customer, we're only dealing with one customer. For those customers that have multiple meters and there's one shut off, it essentially makes the homeowner or the real property owner responsible for the water bill. We're making a change to collections so that if we get to a delinquent account where collections are greater than 90 days, we have the ability to assess that against real property. And then the last change is essentially to adopt the AWWA standards if a customer requires or requests a test on our meters.
Thanks, Trent. Councilors?
Mayor?
Councilor Anderson Jr.
I set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Councilor Chair Anderson Jr. has made a motion to set that date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. That's passed 8-0. Item 58.
Item 58 is a first reading to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Trent?
An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, clarifying the procedure for sanitary sewer cost recovery assessments.
Good evening. Cost recovery is the method that we use to collect for sanitary sewer when we put wastewater infrastructure in the ground. Essentially what this does is it codifies the changes that were made in state code at the last legislative session that allows for collection of cost recovery at the time of platting.
Thank you, Trent. Council Chair.
Set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Karski. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 59.
Item 59 is a first reading, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, confirming the regional wastewater rates, surcharges, and fees charged to the City of Brandon.
Trent.
This change is related to just a cleanup item related to the 20-year regional wastewater joint jurisdictional powers agreement that Brandon signed with the City of Sioux Falls. Prior to that, the contracts that we had with the City of Brandon, every time that there was a rate change, we would come to you with an amendment to the contract. This essentially ties the jurisdictional powers agreement to the rates that we set for the regional wastewater customers.
Thank you. Council Chair?
I just want you to tell the people of Brandon that there is no rate increase in this, correct?
This is not a rate increase. This is just a cleanup item to, we're already charging the rates that are established by council through the jurisdictional powers agreement.
I just want to make sure that they understand that.
Good job.
Mayor?
Yes.
Set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Thank you. Council Chair Anderson Jr. Set the date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 60.
Item 60 is a first reading. Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 51 of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to electric rates.
Mark?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We did a full presentation of the rate analysis at the 4 o'clock informational. There is still copies at the door as well. For each of these items, 60 through 63, I have about 3 summary slides to read into the record. So for light and power, to start with, that's this item. Our recommended rate increase for 2017 is a 6%, for 2018 is a 5%, and for 2019 is a 4% rate increase to meet the needs, the operational and capital needs of this utility. The typical household will have an effect on their residential bill of $3.17 in 2017. In 2018, the effect will be $2.80 per month. And in 2019, $2.35 per month.
Mark, is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilors, questions, comments, motions. Councilor Jamison, sir.
Thank you. Maybe a procedural question for the city attorney. I think I know the answer, but I want to ask it, and I think it probably needs to be said out loud. Can these rates, as I think they're projected to go out to 2019? Is that what I saw?
That's correct.
The action that we take on approving or denying these rates, any other council going forward could always revisit this item and adjust these rates as they see fit.
In terms of most ordinances, Counselor, they can be amended or repealed unless there's some contractual right that's suddenly impaired by it, but I'm not aware of any off the top of my head here. So,
okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Chair.
Question, Mark. On these two, since we're only talking 3 years, can we maybe get an example if we expanded it to 5 years and maybe increased over 5 years instead of 3 and maybe made smaller increases over that time period?
Well, we did in the summary slides, we did do projected rate increases beyond these 3 years, but I would be cautious to go more than 3 years just from a standpoint of regulations can change, cost estimates can change. You know, for a number of years we did single year and then we did double. This would be setting rates for 3 years. I wouldn't be comfortable probably setting them for any more than 3 years, if that was your question.
Because I remember in 2009 when you came to us and we had some huge increases.
Right.
And it was for, I think it was for 4, maybe 5 years at that time.
We did singles, Counselor, from 2006 to 2014. And then in 2014, we did a 2-year rate model, so we set rates for 2015 and 2016. And so this is the first time we've done a 3-year rate model. And so I know we've talked about it. This journey's been long. And normally we will just establish what those rate. Let me just go back to this one slide. So in this example, the circle, the 3 years is what we are asking for your support of. but you can see that we have modeled it out that we are anticipating in 2020 and 2021 a rate increase of 3.5 and then 3% respectively. So we do show beyond the rate setting period because the capital plans are built longer than that, but we're only asking for these 3 years at this point in time.
And then one more, if I may. And then one more thing here to consider.
Okay.
And as we do property taxes and that, I know property taxes is mostly county, they do have a freeze for elderly. Have we ever considered that for some of our utilities?
I'm not aware of that. We've always developed a cost of service rate model and made it uniform across the city.
Okay, maybe we can have a discussion on that later.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would move the to set the date of hearing for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016 at 7 p.m.
Second, Anderson.
Council Vice Chair has made a motion to set the date of hearing, seconded by Council Chair Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie? Yes. Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 61.
I'm reading into the record, items 61 through 78 are all to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. Then when I get to the individual items, I'm just going to read the description. Item 61, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Section 51.100B4 of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to storm drainage fees.
Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. This sets storm drainage rates for 2018 and 2019. So this is the one utility that we're asking for just 2 years. And just a quick recap. Again, we looked at the projects, the operational costs, and the capital. This is the graphic that communicates what that necessary rate increase is, and we are asking for your support of a 9% rate increase in 2018 and a 7% in 2019. The impact to the typical residential house is 30 cents a month in 2017, 33 cents per month in 2018, and 28 cents per month in 2019. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks, Mark.
Mayor?
Yes, Council Chair.
Set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second, Karski.
Thank you, Councilors. Council Chair Anderson Jr. wants to set a date of hearing, and Councilor Karski seconded that. Yes, Councilor Stager, sir.
Yes, Mark.
Yes.
When we talk about a 33-cent increase per what? Gallon or what?
Right. So the storm drainage rate is based on area, and so then we backed in the presentation today based on, we only charge this annually on your tax. And so what we did to make this uniform on the monthly impact is we took that amount and we divided it by 12. Okay. Because this is the one that has an annual impact of, it was about it's that amount times 12. And so, okay, but that's why we converted it here, so our customers know what the impact is by month. But it is based on, it's not based on gallons, it's not based on wastewater amounts, it's storm drainage, so it's based on area of your lot. Yep.
Councilors? Do we have a motion on that?
Mm-hmm.
We already
Motion
do.
is
Thank
second.
you so much. We have one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 7-1. Thank you, Council. Item 62.
Item 62 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending sections 51.46 through 51.50 and 51.53 of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to water charges.
Mayor and City Council, this speaks to the summary of the water purification rates for 2017, 2018, 2019. We communicated again the operational cost and the key capital investments that need to be made. We are coming off of 2 years, 2015 and 2016, of zero rate increases in the water purification fund. We are asking for your support for the next 3 years to have a 2% rate increase in 2017, 2% rate increase in 2018, and a 2% rate increase in 2019. The impact for the typical residential home on their monthly bill In 2017 would be an increase of 55 cents a month. In 2018 it would be 63 cents a month. And in 2019 would be 57 cents a month. We communicated up the 2015 regional rate benchmark, and that's my summary for you tonight.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, Councilor Jimson, sir.
Yes.
Mark, could you tell me the cost per gallon of water? For instance, what do I pay, or what would I normally pay for a gallon of water?
Oh, it's a fraction. It's probably, let me go back to that meter charge here. Let me go to it.
How much? Greg, do you?
760 and
Oh, I'll get it in a second here.
Counselor, is that before or after you water your lawn?
Easy out. Just in the basic charge, the idea that
right.
Okay. There's help.
You gotta give him glasses.
You need some glasses, Mark?
Well, it's it's 0.5 cents per gallon. So I just want to take you through the math so you can see it. So every 100 cubic feet of water is, first everyone pays, so in 2016 today, you pay $3.10 if you use without using any water, okay? And so then every unit, which is 100 cubic feet, so envision a cubic foot, each one of them has 7.48 gallons in it. We measure water by the 100 cubic feet, so 100 of those. So for every 100 cubic feet, which is also 748 gallons, each one of those is $3.53. So add up $3.10 plus $3.53 and divide that by 748 gallons. That's what you pay per gallon. And it's 0.00 cents. So it's
somewhat amazing that it's you go to the grocery store and you buy a gallon of water off the shelf and they kill you.
This is a much better deal.
You buy one of
better deal. Thank you, Mark.
But yes, just in round numbers, that's $6.63 for your first unit, and that will buy you 748 gallons. Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor, does anybody want to set a date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd?
So moved.
Thank you, Council Vice Chair.
Second.
Thank you, Council Chair. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
No.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That is passed 7-1. Thank you, Council. Item 63.
Item 63, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending sections 51.81 and 51.8101 of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to wastewater charges.
All right, thank you, Mayor and City Council. Last utility tonight to review. This item is the first reading to set rates for 2017, 2018, 2019 for the Sioux Falls Water Reclamation Division. We've gone through the analysis, the operational and capital needs. This is the one that we're still investing significant amounts of capital to make this a safe and reliable utility. Our analysis and our recommendation is to raise rates by 6% in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Councilor Anderson, as you look out in those out years, we are still forecasting that we have additional rate increases in the future because we build these models for, in some cases, more than 10 years. So to give you a look forward, our impact to the typical residential customer with this 6% rate increase in 2017 is $1.81 per month. In 2018 is $1.95 per month. And in 2019 is $2.04 per month. Our benchmark slide that compares our rates to 2015. So again, that's it's a look back, but we talked a lot about in both water and wastewater, we have very low fixed charges, and then we charge the customers by the volumetric. We had one overall summary slide that communicates up our regional rates, our regional costs in South Dakota, and gives you a perspective right now where we're at and where we're heading, and still very cost comparative for these utilities. And the summary tonight on all these utilities would have a monthly impact to our customers of $2.66 in 17, $2.91 in 2018, and $2.89 in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, Council Chair.
Let's see here. This is a first reading also,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Okay, set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Thank you. Council Chair Anderson Jr. set a date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, seconded by Councilor Karski. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 7-1. Thank you, Council. Item 64.
Item 64 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the 2013 Shaped Places zoning ordinance of the city for off-street parking calculation tables. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening, members of the council. Shauna Goldhammer, the zoning enforcement manager on behalf of the city. What you have here is first reading for parking calculations tables. This is a staff-initiated amendment to hopefully make it easier to understand what the parking requirements are for the city of Sioux Falls. And with that, I'd answer any questions.
Shauna, thank you. Appreciate that. Council, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you, Council Vice Chair Rolfing.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson. Appreciate that. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 65.
Item 65 is an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 2010 West Russell Street from the CN Conservation District to the C4 Commercial Regional District, petition number 2884-2015, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Jason Bieber representing Planning and Building Services. The applicant here is the City of Sioux Falls Community Development Department. As you can see by the slide here, it is located just southeast of the Elmwood Golf Course. It's roughly 3.94 acres, and the purpose of this rezoning is to construct a Holiday Inn and Suites with the associated conference area and a restaurant.
Jason, thank you. Council, any questions, comments? Set a date of hearing?
Set the date of hearing for Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. Council Vice Chair Rolfing would like to set that date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison? Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 66.
Item 66 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of East 41st Street and east of South Linedale 9 Drive Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban District, petition number 4160-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
The applicant and owner here is Richard Brake. It's located on 41st Street, just east of Veterans Parkway. It's roughly 4.48 acres, and the purpose of this is to divide this parcel into 5 lots and construct a 4-unit townhome on each of the 5 lots.
Thanks, Jason. Council?
Move to set date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Council Chair Anderson Jr. would like to set that date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Kylie. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 67.
Item 67 is a first reading. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 2809 South Jonathan Lane from the RR Single Family Residential Rural District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District, including conditions as allowed in Section 160.650E, placing limitations on the DD2 form, petition number 4172-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
The applicant and owner here is Russell Kalmus. It is located within the Old Orchard Heights neighborhood on 2809 South Jonathan Lane. It's roughly 0.4 acres in size, and the purpose of this rezoning is for the applicant to sell this lot and then for somebody to construct a single-family home on it. Staff and the Planning Commission have recommended conditions for this specific rezoning, and those are the increased minimum lot width to 80 feet, increased front yard setbacks to 30 and then 25 on corner lots, an increased side yard setback to 15 feet, and then a 40-foot rear yard setback. And the reason for this is these would be the identical setbacks that were part of the old orchard plan development under the previous ordinance, and should help any new house here kind of fit in better with the existing neighborhoods.
Thank you, Jason. Yes, Councilor Vice Chair Rolfing.
Jason, is this going to be divided into two?
The applicant originally had a buyer that wanted to divide it into two, split it and do a house on the left and right. I do believe that that buyer has gone away and looked somewhere else, so he is marketing it. Somebody that buys it would have the ability to divide it into two if they would like.
You could divide it under ordinance, under the...
You could plat it as long as it met those setbacks and minimum lot widths that we're suggesting.
How about the old orchard requirements? Isn't there
the PD?
What?
You're talking about the old, under the old ordinance?
Is that still in effect at all?
No, it's not. That's why we're trying to rezone this with some conditions to try and keep anything that's constructed here similar to those existing homes out there.
Good, thank you. I will set the date for, or ask to set the date for second reading on Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 o'clock.
Second, Erickson.
Thank you, Council Vice Chair Rolfing. Set that date, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 68.
Item 68 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 2309 South Elmwood Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, petition number 4180, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here are Ron and Lori Krenz. It is located at 2309 South Elmwood Avenue. It's roughly 0.2 acres in size. The existing home was constructed in 1965 and had an approved variance to allow it to be 18 feet from the rear property line instead of the required 25 feet. The applicant then came in within the last couple of months and was looking to do an addition onto the back of this. And then it was found that this house didn't meet the current RS zoning district of 25 feet. Therefore, they're requesting to rezone to the traditional RT1 traditional district. That would allow them a 10-foot setback. And then they're looking at trying to construct a Four Seasons room on the back. We did have significant neighborhood input on this specific one. We had neighbors for it, neighbors against it, so I do expect several people to be here at the second reading. And the Planning Commission vote was a split vote with the chairman voting for approval to have it pass 4-3.
Thank you, Jace. Yes, Councilor Karski.
Isn't the RT zone for typically the historical part of town? I mean, is it meant to be spread out into other parts of our community?
It was put in for some of these smaller traditional lots, but it also works for some of these lots where there's existing homes, existing things that don't meet current setbacks. Otherwise, we continue to have a non-conforming house here. So it works in those situations, but also for those 44-foot lots, so you can construct a house. So,
can you go back one, Jason? To what the design is going to look like? No, what the design is there.
This is what they would like to do, is put that Four Seasons room on the back with that deck.
Let's see, which way is that, south?
West.
Or west, rather?
Yeah, it faces west.
Okay, because the one deal showed it on, looked like it was on the south, and I was going to say that didn't, yeah, okay.
Oh, it's on the west, yep.
Move to set the date, Karski.
Thank you, Councilor Karski. Would anyone want to second that? Thank you, Council Chair Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Thanks, Council. That is passed 8-0. Item 69.
Item 69 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property east of I-229 and south of East Benson Road from the AG Agricultural and CN Conservation Districts to the CN Conservation and I-2 Heavy Industrial Districts, petition number 4192, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Tom Sweetman. This is roughly 112 acres, and the purpose of this specific application is to construct an industrial development.
Thanks, Jason.
Set the date, Karski.
Councilor Karski's been a motion to set that date, seconded by Councilor Anderson. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 70.
Item 70 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property east of North Dakota Avenue and south of West Walnut Street from the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, petition number 4231, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Mark Meyer Henry. It's located north of West Russell Street and then east of North Minnesota Avenue. There's three existing lots. The two north lots, 1428 and 1430 North Dakota Avenue, as you can see on this aerial, contain an existing building and kind of storage area that was used for electrical contractor shop, so it's been used as industrial for some time. The lot then at 1426, that's just to the south here, the applicant would like to remove or raise that existing home and then keep the existing garages for storage.
Thank you, Jason. Council, does anybody want to set a date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. That was Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Yep. Councilor Erickson.
Can you go back a slide, please? One more. Okay, so what else around there is light industrial?
It's kind of one of those transition areas. If we go back to this one, you can see to the north, we got some light industrial. To the west is that new redevelopment of Come and Go. There also are some single-family homes to the west. This specific one is just something that the applicant has used that as an industrial property, the two north parcels. Really, the only thing that he's trying to change is remove that house on the south parcel and keep the garage.
And was this due to Shape Places, or was this his initiation?
He's initiating the rezoning request.
Any neighborhood feedback?
There was a gentleman that came that was over to the east, almost backed up all the way to the east of this map, and didn't really have any issues with it. Otherwise, we didn't hear any feedback at all from any neighbors.
And one more.
Mm-hmm.
What was the vote for Planning Commission?
Unanimous. And just a point, if he would ever redevelop this site and it's zoned the industrial, then he would have to put in those required buffer yards and all that different stuff. So,
Thanks, Jason. Council Chair.
No, okay. She just asked my question.
A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach? Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. It's passed 8-0. Item 71.
Item 71 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 525 South Holly Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, petition number 4278, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
the applicant and owner here is Lynn Keller Forbes with CCOG. It's located at that 525 South Holly Avenue. You can see it's a currently vacant lot. It's roughly 0.14 acres in size, and the purpose of this specific application is they would like to construct, I believe, a governor's house on this existing lot that's less than 50 feet wide.
Thanks, Jace.
Move and set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Council Chair Junior's made that motion to set that date of hearing, seconded by Council Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 72.
Item 72 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1800 East Mulberry Street from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, petition number 4301, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner of this currently vacant lot is Gary Van Rigamorter. It's located at that 1800 South Mulberry Street. It's roughly 0.13 acres in size, and the purpose of this specific rezoning is to get him to that single-family traditional district so he can construct a single-family home and still be able to meet setbacks.
Thank you, Jason. Yes, Council Chair Anderson Jr.
Move to set the date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd,
Very good.
2016.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson, for the second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 73.
Item 73 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 621 West Russell Street from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 4308, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Brown and Sanger. It is located at that 621 West Russell Street. It's roughly 1.17 acres in size. The request is for them to rezone to C3. They recently vacated the street to the south, and they would like to construct a parking lot and kind of merge their two buildings. The building on the southwest there is already larger than 25,000 square feet, so they want to get the same zoning on both parcels. Then they will combine them.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the date, Karski.
Second.
Councilor Karski's been a motion to set that date, seconded by Councilor Kylie. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski? Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. It's passed 8-0. Item 74.
Item 74 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1304 and 1305 North Cleveland Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban and RS Single Family Residential Suburban Districts to the I-1 Light Industrial and CN Conservation District, petition number 4329, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Kurt Laudenbach with Grand Prairie Foods. It's located at 1304 North Cleveland Avenue. It's roughly 5.71 acres in size. And the purpose of this specific rezoning is to construct an addition on the existing Grand Prairie Foods building to the south. And then there's an existing detention area to the east, so they would like to get that into the conservation district.
Thank you, Jason.
Move to set the date for May 3rd at 7 p.m.
Second, Erpenbach.
Council Vice Chair has made a motion to set that date, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0, Council. Thank you. Item 75.
Item 75 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of West 26th Street and west of South Katy Avenue from the AG Agricultural District to the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density District, petition number 4331, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Kelly Nielsen. It's located south of West 26th and west of South Katy Avenue. It's roughly just under 12 acres in size. And the purpose of this rezoning is to construct roughly 15 4-unit buildings. The applicant is indicating they're multifamily villa-type buildings on it.
Thank you, Jason.
Move to set the date, Karski.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Karski's made a motion to set that date of hearing. Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Chair Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson? Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 76.
Item 76 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 7900 South Brandy Avenue from the AG Agricultural District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District, petition number 4332, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant here is also Kelly Nielsen. The owner, excuse me, is Linda Jackson. It's roughly 13.7 acres in size. The purpose of this specific rezoning is to keep those two existing houses that you can see there and then construct a single-family development with roughly 30 single-family homes.
Thank you, Jason.
Move to set a hearing for May 3rd.
Thank you, Councilor Jameson.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0, Council. Thank you. Item 77.
Item 77 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 3700 and 3800 West Tickman Street from the I-1 Light Industrial District to the RA3 Apartment Residential High Density, petition number 4339, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Jim Dunham. It's roughly 2.75 acres in size. And the purpose of this specific rezoning request is to construct a 3-story apartment with a total of 65 units. And you can see the associated parking lot along with those units.
Thank you, Jason.
Move to set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to set the date of hearing. Second by Councilor Karski. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski, Kiley,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson, Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 78.
Item 78 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 515 South Conklin Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, petition number 4344, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant and owner here is Yvonne Byer. It's roughly 0.13 acres in size. The purpose of this specific rezoning is the applicant currently does not have any off-street parking, and it's difficult for her to put any to the north of her existing house. So the rezoning to the traditional single-family district would allow her to construct a 22 by 24 detached garage, then a 20-foot wide driveway to Sioux Street and get her some off-street parking.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the date, Karski.
Second, Erickson.
Councilor Karski has been a motion to set the date of hearing. Seconded by Councilor Erickson. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Councilors. Item 79.
Item 79 is a resolution amending the 2016-2020 capital program, Parks and Recreation, $12,000.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Don Kearney with Parks and Rec. This item would allow us to amend the capital equipment program to allow us to provide amend the plan to include a paver kiosk at Veterans Memorial Park to replace the one that was previously there. We have funding in place from other savings from other capital equipment purchases, and so this would amend it into the plan so we can go ahead and get it replaced.
Thank you, Don. Folks, this resolution, did anybody want to speak to this particular item? Councilors.
Move for approval, Anderson.
And second, Rolfing.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve this resolution, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 80.
Item 80 is a resolution finding that the proposed hotel and restaurant to be located at Elmwood Golf Course constitutes an appropriate park purpose.
Don, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council members, Don Kearney again with Parks and Rec. As the item suggests, this resolution before you is related to the hotel restaurant development on park property at Elmwood Golf Course. State law does allow structures to be built on park property if it's deemed to be a park purpose. As part of the process to determine the appropriate park purpose, We have reviewed the proposed project extensively with the Golf Advisory Board and also the Parks and Recreation Board. Earlier today, we did have a Parks and Recreation Board meeting to review the proposed resolution before you tonight, and they did recommend approval of this resolution to the mayor and the city council. Some of the rationale for determining a park purpose that the board considered was as follows. It would generate new revenues through the lease of the golf course property that can be used to reinvest in our golf courses, including Elmwood Golf Course. They also considered that it would anticipate that it would provide additional users of the golf course and ultimately generate more revenue as well. One of the other major factors is our ability to cross-market not only the golf course but also the hotel and restaurant with play and stay packages that will enhance the golf experience that currently does not exist on the property today. One of the other nice features of this proposal is that space will be made available by having the Hall of Fame, the first ever for the South Dakota Golf Hall of Fame in this facility, as well as support space for the first tee program. The golf experience would also be enhanced by the hotel restaurant on the golf course property. This model has proven to be very effective, very similar situation to Prairie Green and CJ Callaway's. We find that a lot of the golfers like that full-service restaurant experience adjacent to Prairie Green Golf Course. So this would be a very, very similar situation. The other nice thing about what we're proposing to do with this project is have golf cart path connectivity between the clubhouse and the hotel and restaurant that will provide a level of service and convenience not currently available on site at Elmwood. Finally, I'd close by saying that with the complete renovation of Elmwood Golf Course and all the amenities it has to offer, we believe the additional hotel restaurant is going to only add to the desirability of Elmwood as a great golf experience. And so with that, we'd be glad to answer any questions.
Don, thank you. Folks, anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Welcome.
I'm Mila Kampshoff, and I represent the Municipal Golf Advisory Board. We've been in on discussions with this since it was first proposed several years ago. I think it would add to the aesthetics as you drive along Russell, moving our current maintenance building off that side and having a very attractive new facility that will offer us as golfers and golf clubs at Elmwood a space to go have our meetings, our award banquet, various things like that, that we have not had the space to do. So we have been in favor, after studying this all along for the last several years, very excited about the proposition of having this facility right on our property.
Thank you, and thanks for your stewardship. Anybody else? Very good. Yes, Council Chair Anderson Jr.
Don?
Don?
Question. With the building of this hotel and that, you're going to have to move that maintenance building. Where are you going to move that to? Is it going to be another place on Elmwood that you're going to find, or?
Yeah, that's a great question, Councilmember Anderson. We do plan to move it to where we've moved the other maintenance buildings as a result of the renovations to the course. We had some maintenance buildings off of number 18 Fairway that had to be relocated as part of the project because we had to remove a bunch of trees in that area. And so we have an area on the east side of the East 9 where we have our current maintenance building located. And as we laid that out, we also anticipated the moving of this building to that side as well. And so what it'll do is it'll have all of our maintenance buildings consolidated into one area.
Thank you.
You bet.
Council Vice Chair Ruffing.
I would just like to say that if the hotel and restaurant are going to be as popular as CJ Callaway's, which I affectionately call my wife's kitchen, because that's where I eat most of the time, it seems like, I think it'll be a great asset to the community, and I would move approval.
Thank you, Councilor Ruffing. Thank you, Councilor Karski. Councilor Jameson.
Don, sorry, just didn't want you to walk away. Thank you.
Welcome.
I didn't catch the lady's name, but the comment was made that this has been discussed for years, this proposal. Is that true?
Yeah, you know, we've been working on it for probably 2 or 3 years and pretty steady, trying to pull everything together, doing the RFP, largely led by Darren and his team through community development to issue the RFP to seek out the proposals to get a developer to come in and want to do this project.
So if I could summarize it, I mean, the struggle has been to find the right person to come in and occupy the space and do what we want to do, right?
Well, the initial step was to get somebody willing to do it as far as a proposal. And then ultimately, I think the most of the time came into, there's a hotel franchise that needs to be secured, the restaurant needs to be secured, and that really is the time that the market studies and those things that go into selecting the hotel, that's really the big time portion of the project, in my opinion.
If I could, just one more comment. This might come off a little odd, but from the way I see this project, as you stated, several years in the making, it generally isn't happening because of general market conditions that are making it a great choice for somebody. It seems like it's really happening because of the hard work that Darren has really done to find the right people to come in and work through those agreements. And I don't give Darren kudos very often, but I think he has worked pretty hard to get this done. And maybe even the mayor. I don't know for sure, but I'm breaking all the rules tonight. But I think it's fair to call it like it is, and generally how I try to do it. And it just seems like there were a lot of people who said no. And those guys kept working until they found somebody to make it work. And I think for us, the city, the risk to us is very minimal, and the opportunities are all good. So it just seems really good, and I commend them for that work. And maybe you too.
I'm just happy to see it move forward.
Move for approval, Anderson.
Let me thank Councilor Jamison first, would you? Councilor Jamison, I thank you. And I'm sure Darren thanks you too. Now, Councilor Chair Anderson Jr.
You have a motion on
we
the
have a motion.
floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Urbanbach.
Can we just, because we did talk about this at length, it's been a couple of weeks though, could you, Don, just run briefly through, or Darren, either one, what's our liability, who owns the building, and how does this relationship work going forward? I realize the hour is late, but just to remind folks before we vote on it, if we might just do that. Yeah, Don would talk more briefly than Darren would. You can sit down, Darren. Thank you, we love you, but knock it off.
That's a good question because it came up at our park board meeting as well. This is a 4-acre parcel, plus or minus, that would essentially be turned over through a lease with Elmwood Hospitality LLC, and they would be responsible for all the care and maintenance, the upkeep, the operations. It's really a turnkey operation where we're not going to be mowing the lawn. We're not going to be removing snow. We're not going to be picking up trash. It's total turnkey to the developer. And so really it's a hands-off relationship from our perspective.
And then how long is that lease period? Because there's a point then when we could take it back, or we, just talk about that.
Yeah, it is proposed to be a 50-year lease.
Okay. Good, thank you.
You bet.
Don, if I could, it's 9:24. If you could just introduce the board members that are in the audience. It's 9:24. I don't know why you guys are here, but I'm glad you are. And as well as the person who runs our golf courses, please.
Yes, by all means. Today we have our president of our Parks and Recreation Board, Patty Abdallah.
Okay.
And then we also have our secretary of our board, Mark Steinborn.
Mark.
And then Mila Kamshoff is the representative from the Municipal Golf Advisory Board. And then we also have Tom Jenza, the president of Dakota Golf.
Thank you all for being here. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Urbanbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
It's passed 8-0. Item 81.
81 is a resolution discontinuing routes 21, 23, 24, and 25 serving Sioux Falls Public High Schools.
Sam Trebelkonk, City of Sioux Falls Planning. These routes are the school tripper routes that the City Sioux Area Metro has been running for the past 20, 25 years. It's a service that's been a great service for a number of years, but as we put together our Transit Task Force recommendations, looking for ways to create a more sustainable system as we see there's revenues being reduced, demand increasing in other areas, and trying to maintain our core area services. This was a recommendation from the Transit Task Force that we saw that we needed to eliminate these routes. We've been working with the school district on this for the last couple of years, and the school district will be providing the same service that we were doing with School Bus Inc. So that'll help us and still provide the same service. They will be charging for the service. Just like we were charging the students for our service, it'll be pretty comparable. So what we will be doing then because in a lot of cases the school district or the Sioux Area Metro was providing rides for a number of different ways to get home. In some cases the school bus Inc. might bring them part of the way, and then in other cases Sioux Area Metro might be able to provide them the remaining portion of the route or ride home or things like that. So Sioux Area Metro, the City of Sioux Falls, we will accept the pass that the school district will be providing to the students for a fee. We will accept that pass for the ride that they need, whether or not it's for a ride for after-school activities, whether or not it's for the remaining portion of their trip, because in some cases the school bus is going to the downtown bus stop and then they finish their trip on a Sioux Area Metro bus. So we wanted to make sure that they didn't have to be charged twice. So it should be really a fairly equal system for the kids. They're just riding a different bus. With that, there was a public hearing that was held at the Public Transit Advisory Board as required by this major service change. The reason we're bringing it in front of you tonight also. And that was, the recommendation was unanimous to eliminate, based upon also knowing that, based upon the agreement with the Sioux Falls School District, that will discontinue the SAM bus routes, but in return, the Sioux Falls High School students with the School Bus Inc. pass to ride on the SAM bus routes will be provided free of charge. We do have a representative with the Sioux Falls School District here. Missy Brock is here if you do have any questions. Like I said, we've been working for the last couple of years on, and we'll continue to, because there's a lot of different ways that we can continue to be cooperating in how we get kids from place to place. And the nice thing about it is that the kids can, get to the rides to and from wherever they need to go, whether or not it's from school or not, as part of this program. With that, I would take any of your questions.
Sam, thank you very much. Appreciate that update. And Missy, thank you for being here tonight on behalf of the school board. Appreciate it in the school system. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak to this item? Counselors? I'm sorry, Council Vice Chair Rolfing?
I just wanted to say that this is part of the Transit Task Force that was completed about a year ago. This is part of the implementation that goes with that. Yes. And we thank the school system for taking over and doing the right thing, and I would move approval.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second, Erpenbach.
Thank you, Councilor Erpenbach. Councilor Chair, did you? Okay. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. That is passed 8-0. Item number 82.
82 is a resolution approving the release of part of a permanent easement located in Lot 10, Block 1 of Stony Point at 57th, in addition to the City of Sioux Falls, Lincoln County, South Dakota.
Good evening, Chad Heavey with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This sanitary sewer easement is in the new subdivision just south of our 57th Street water tower in southeast Sioux Falls. The existing easement is 22 feet wide and does contain a sanitary sewer line. It has been found out that a home was constructed that is encroaching in this easement. And the recommendation tonight is that we release the west 1 foot of that easement to remedy the encroachment.
That's it, Chad?
That's it.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to that 1 foot? Nope. Councilors?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfing.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson Jr. Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. Councilor Stagger, sir.
Chad, are we going to get any money for this?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's not, it's private property with an easement over it. So this property.
Okay.
There's 11-foot easement on each side of the property line. Now we're going to reduce that easement from 11 feet down to 10 feet.
Okay, I got it.
So it's all private property.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Let's pass 8-0. Item 83.
Item 83 is a motion to canvass the April 12, 2016 election returns pursuant to SDCL 91324, declare the result, and enter the results in the journal. Minutes.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Tom Greco, the Sioux Falls City Clerk and also the City Election Official. So this evening, the Sioux Falls City Council, serving in the capacity as the canvassing board, will declare the results of the City of Sioux Falls Municipal School Board election held in the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota on Tuesday, April 12, 2016. The final vote totals include the provisional ballots which were counted last Wednesday at the Minnehaha County Auditor's Office. A total of 4 persons voted by provisional ballot, and 2 of the 4 were counted and added to the totals. The precincts counted were 67. Total registered voters was 113,264. The total ballots cast were 12,828, and total voter turnout by percent was 11.33. I'll cover first the candidates, then the charter amendments. For the at-large City Council member, 4-year term position, Teresa Staley received 44.34% of the votes cast at said election and is hereby declared elected to the position of at-large City Council member for a 4-year term. For the Southwest District City Council member, 4-year term position, Marshall Selberg received 55.46% of the votes cast at said election and is hereby declared elected to the position of Southwest District City Council member for a 4-year term. For the Northwest District City Council member, 4-year term position, Greg Neitzert received 47.83% of the votes cast at said election and is hereby declared elected to the position of Northwest District City Council member for a 4-year term. For the Northeast District City Council member, 4-year term position, Pat Starr received 42.75% of the votes cast at said election and is hereby declared elected to the position of Northeast District City Council member for a 4-year term. Moving on to charter amendments. Charter Amendment A, amending Section 2.02C, City Council election and terms, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 65.67%. Charter Amendment B, amending Section 2.04, Mayor and City Council compensation expenses, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 71.99%. Charter Amendment C, amending Section 2.14, updating the Code of Ordinances, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 80.63%. Charter Amendment D, amending Section 3.02, election and qualifications, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 59.83%. Charter Amendment E, amending Section 4.01B, direction by mayor, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 71.94%. Charter Amendment F, amending Section 7.02A, activities prohibited, was approved by the electorate, having received the majority of yes votes cast of 75.84%. Due to the fact that one candidate in each of the 4 council member races received over 34% of the votes, it will not be necessary to hold a secondary runoff election. This concludes my report.
Tom, thank you. Before I move it to the council, I would like to introduce those candidates that will be serving. They are here tonight. I'm going to start with the Southwest City Councilor-elect, Councilor-elect Marshall Selberg. Marshall, would you please stand? And is that your bride? It is. And her name, please? Jolene. Jolene, welcome to the team. Jolene, would you stand with your husband? Thank you. Welcome. Then, Then also present tonight, City Councilor-elect from the northwest part of our town. The gentleman's name is Councilor-elect Greg Neitzert. Councilor? And then from the northeast part of our city, Councilor-elect Pat Starr. Pat? Very good. Councilors?
Move to adjourn.
No, let's
approval.
That's probably
Second.
probably
That would
chomping
probably
at the
be
bit
better.
for that.
Yeah, do that first.
Council Vice Chair, Councilor Rolfing would like to approve these folks for office, and seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
And that has passed 8-0. Councilor Rolfing now.
I thought by all that clapping, we approved them with a clap
That's
with a
right.
standing
Good job.
ovation,
Good
but
job.
I will move for adjournment now.
Thank you.
Second.
On a motion to adjourn this meeting, it has been seconded in City of Sioux Falls. It is 9:38, and most of these councilors started here today probably like 8 in the morning. At a minimum, they were here at 4 o'clock. And this isn't always the norm, councilor-elects, but they work their tail off for a little money. That's for sure. They do it because they love the city. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Sioux Falls. Make it a great night.